In this video, we are going to review variables. Remember, variables are the things that change in an experiment. There are three types of variables: independent variables, dependent variables, and controlled variables. Many things can change in an experiment. All but two of the variables must be controlled, which means they must be kept the same. Only two variables can be changed in the experiment. Those are the independent variable and the dependent variable. The independent variable, also known as the manipulated variable, because it is intentionally changed by the person doing the experiment. The word manipulate means to be forcefully changed. This is the first variable that is changed in the experiment. The dependent variable, also known as the responding variable, because it changes in response to the independent variable. This is the second variable that is allowed to change in the experiment. Let's consider the experimental question. How does the amount of fertilizer affect the growth of pea plants? First, identify all of the materials that you will need to do this experiment. You'll need seeds, pots, soil, water, fertilizer, and sunlight. All of these things are required to grow plants. Now, let's consider that list. Which of these do you need to change to try to answer the question, how does the amount of fertilizer affect the growth of the pea plants? You will have to change the amount of fertilizer that you give to the plants. Now that we've identified fertilizer as the independent variable that we are going to intentionally change, what are you going to measure as you try to answer the question? How does the amount of fertilizer affect the growth of the pea plants? We're going to change the amount of fertilizer, and we want to see how it affects the growth. So we need to figure out how much the pea plants grow. Here is a list of all of the possible variables that we have identified so far. We know that the fertilizer is what we are going to change. That is our independent variable. And the growth of the plants is what we are going to measure. That is the dependent variable. Everything else must be controlled. We have to use the same kinds of seeds, the same size pots, the same type of soil and the same amount of soil. We have to water the plants with the same amount of water. And we have to give all of the plants the same amount of sunlight. Those are all going to have to be our controlled variables.